Hello students, this is my 24th video and we had started this lesson half the way we had done and we are going to complete it today. So I'm going to start from here. Last video we had done till this part. So let us continue from here. So let us continue now. She frequently accompanied me and the dogs on an afternoon stroll after being ruthlessly pulled out of her box. So she frequently means regularly she used to go with the author and the dogs for the afternoon stroll. Stroll is the walk, in the evening walk that people go out. So they used to go out in the afternoon stroll after being ruthlessly means she was not willing, she never used to feel like coming out of her box, but they had to forcefully take her out of her box so that they could take them for the walk. For the first 100 yards or so she was perfectly happy jumping along behind. First few 100 yards she used to be very happy and jumping and loving that walk with the family. But after that, a flying squirrel's natural mode of progression when on the ground is a succession of jumps. We know that squirrels, they usually love climbing on trees and climbing on poles, but here she in the beginning she had a way of walking in the form of jumping, but the graceful little hop of the striped squirrel, but rather a lumbering gallop with all 4 feet in the air at the same time and the tail held straight up in the air, last 4 inches or so curling over. So this here is given the description of the way she hopped or jumped when she went out for the walk in the afternoon. She in the beginning she used to have successions of jump, keep on jumping along with them, not the graceful little hop of the stripe, not very gracefully hopping. Gracefully means that small jumps, but a bigger jump she used to take, but rather a lumbering gallop. Lumbering means very slowly moving, with all 4 feet in the air at the same time and the tail held straight up in the air, the last 4 inches or so curling over. So this is given the description of her walk, which is actually jumping very slowly and showing not much enthusiasm in that jump. This not being adapted for long distance, Tippitty would soon overshoot her endurance and come to a halt. Overshoot her endurance means she would give up to her endurance power, that is the power to tolerate anything. She used to give up and come to a halt. After some time she would stop even jumping. Halt means stop. If I were near, she would make for my leg and be up on my shoulder in the twinkling of an eye. Or if Brock or Dawn happened to be at hand, she would spring onto one of their backs and get a free ride. So that is what she used to do. If the narrator, the author was near, she would make for his leg and be up on my shoulder, so that she would just go along without walking, sitting on the shoulder of the narrator, the author. Or other option she had was the friends of her, Brock or Dawn, and she used to get on over their backs and had a free ride. An oak or a deodar tree invariably attracted her attention, and she would make her way to the extreme end of a branch and nibble off the young leaves. That is what she used to do throughout her walk. Either she used to have a very slow and uninterested jumps. After that, she used to get on the shoulder of the author, or sometimes she also used to get on the back of the friends, Brock or Dawn, and have her afternoon walk. And at some point of time, she also used to get some deodar tree, and she used to start nibbling the leaves of the trees. The point of the stem which grew out of the branch appealed to her most, that the soft and young leaves, she used to nibble at them, and she would pick off leaf after leaf, just nibbling the juicy end of it and throw the rest away. So that was her time pass when they used to have this afternoon walk. However, she was quite happy on any tree or shrub and found something to eat on all. So that is how she used to have a good time with the author and her two friends. As I have already said, Tippitty was nocturnal and woke up a little after sunset if left to herself. She woke up a little after sunset, means the daytime she used to, after that afternoon walk, she might be going to sleep, and then she used to wake up after the sunset. Provided she would not get a good dinner, she would be prepared to play and look about for odds and ends to nibble on all night through. Now, since she was this Tippitty belongs to the family of flying squirrel who are nocturnal, so she also used to sleep most of the time of the day. She used to sleep, and at night she used to become active. So that time she used to just keep on nibbling on things throughout the night. I very soon discovered that a good feed just before I went to bed had the effect of making her sleepy too. So the author was able to understand that if Tippitty was given a good meal, that is a good dinner, then that used to make her sleepy. On custard nights, this means that there were some specific days in which the custard was served in the dinner to Tippitty. So on custard nights, Tippitty would invariably overeat. Invariably means without fail, she used to overeat, and that means overeat means that was her favorite, and she used to eat that. She used to overeat custard, and that meant sleeping solidly till the early hours of the morning. So that was changing her habit. That used to change her habit. That is the nocturnal habit. And after having custard, she used to take it too much, and then she used to go for sleep. She very seldom woke up during the night. Very seldom means very rarely she used to woke up during the night, that particular night when she used to take custard. As a rule, I would wake up to find a warm, soft curry ball curled up against my neck, but occasionally the awakening would be much ruder, and I would find Tippitty having a lovely game with my toes, my ears, or my hair. So occasionally, sometimes she used to also go and curl her fur tail around the neck of the author, and sometimes it was little rude on her side that she used to go and play with the toes and the ears and the hair of the author. There was something extraordinarily fascinating about her every moment, and her little chirrup of pleasure was very sweet to hear. Chirrup of pleasure means that soft sound that she made. Tippitty had an assortment of calls. Her growl was most alarming and would have done credit to an animal 10 times her size. So here it's given about her sound that she created. She was like a very sweet chirrup. Kind of chirrup is the sound created by the birds, chirrup. So she also made such a sweet sound which was sweet to hear. And Tippitty had an assortment of calls. Assortment means she had a collections of different sounds that she used to make. Let us see. First it is given chirrup. Then she also growled. Her growl was most alarming. Growl is also the kind of sound made by animals, the soft, little annoying sound. It was alarming means little annoying and would have done credit to an animal 10 times her size. Means seeing her size, nobody would believe that she used to growl at that extent. That is 10 times of her size an animal would make such sound. She had temper of her own. Temper means that the anger, that temperament. I'm sorry to say which every member of the household, master and dogs included, had occasion to remember. Means everybody felt that anger, that temperament that she had. It showed for a second and was gone again. Means she used to get angry at things and that anger remained for some time and then was over as suddenly as it had been roused. Means she never used to keep that anger for a long time and that she used to forget. But in that instant, her sharp claws had torn some offending hand. She won't take that thing. She never used to take anybody's disturbing her or showing any displeasure towards her. She would use her claws and torn the offending hand. Offending hand means someone who tries to grab her or disturb her. Or her terrible teeth she was used terrible teeth had sent a dog howling out of the room, or she would use her terrible teeth to bite the one who tries to annoy her. Poor Tippitty, her end was tragic in the extreme. So now we see that the author loses her. How? Let us see. The end was tragic. We hope it was also painless. She had been tied up just before dinner. But we know that she used to, the author used to tie her up with the table before any meal because she used to move around and spoil the things. So here she was tied up before dinner, but somehow the end of the chain had got unfastened from the leg of the chair. I heard her hopping, so she somehow managed to unfasten her, means lose the chain and come out of the grip, and she ran out. I heard her hopping about on the boards of the veranda and dragging her chain behind her. So she was just having that chain tied and it got loosened from the leg of the chair with which it was tied up, and she went out hopping, and that sound of the chain was also audible to the author. I went out to bring her back, but in that instant something flashed past me. There was a tiny squeal, and a fox had poor Tippitty in its relentless jaws. Her death was avenged, but that is another story. So there she was out hopping around in the veranda when he heard a sound. Tiny squeal means that soft sound that she made. And the fox had poor Tippitty in its relentless jaws. And the author saw that a fox had caught Tippitty in its jaw, and she met her death. So her death was avenged, means like the revenge of her death was taken, but that is another story the author is not mentioning here. So that is how at the end this Tippitty, the sweet little squirrel, meets her death. That is quite tragic for the author, the way she used to keep on engaging everybody and taking attention of everybody. It must be a tragedy for everyone in the family. So we are going to stop here. In the next video, I am going to discuss the question answers. Take care everybody, and God bless you all.